everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and if you're new here, remember to subscribe and to give this video a thumb up. I always say that Switzerland is very expensive, but what does that really mean? Today I'm gonna talk about my monthly and yearly expenses here in Switzerland so that you get an idea of how much life in Switzerland costs. Of course, first of all, we need to address the fact that Switzerland is a small country, but there are so many differences within all the cantons, all the cities, and also within genders. So I'm gonna talk about my expenses, but you have to consider that I live in the canton Basel-Land. I am a woman and I live by myself. This can give you an idea of how much a single person arrives to spend in Switzerland, but really if I was living in Zurich or if I was living in Lugano, my expenses would be probably different. Starting with my monthly expenses, the biggest expense is for sure the rent. I live by myself in a 2-room apartment and I currently pay 1,230 Swiss francs a month. So this is definitely the biggest expense that I have every month. The second biggest expense is for me the health insurance. Health insurance in Switzerland is not public, but it's private, so you basically have to pay a certain amount every month. This amount depends on a lot of things, depends on your age, gender, depends on what kind of insurance you want, like what do you want to have included in your insurance and how much then you want to pay out of your own pocket when you need to have some checkups, if you have to go to hospitals and this kind of stuff. What I pay every month is actually a very high amount because I have a lot of things actually included in my insurance. So I pay 450 Swiss francs a month. There are people who pay like 200 Swiss francs a month, 250. I pay such a high amount per month because then if I have any other expense, I pay only up to 500 Swiss francs and then the rest will be paid by the insurance. If you decide, okay, if something happens, I want to pay up to 2,000 Swiss francs, then this of course impacts your monthly amount and you will end up paying less every month because in case something happens, you will pay a lot more out of your own pocket. Another monthly expense that I have is my phone. I'm currently using the provider site and I would say I pay quite a lot. I pay 70 Swiss francs per month, 69.90 per month, because I have actually a lot included. I have unlimited calls, SMS, unlimited internet in Switzerland, outside of Switzerland, which means in all Europe, USA and Canada. And also I have like free phone calls, SMS towards foreign numbers as well as towards Swiss numbers. So I basically never end up paying more than 70 Swiss francs a month. There are some service numbers that they make you pay a little bit, but in general, either I'm in Switzerland or I'm outside of Switzerland, I never pay anything more than 70 Swiss francs. And I have really unlimited everything. Apart from my phone bill, I also pay for internet at home. I use a local provider and I pay 45 Swiss francs a month. This is definitely not much. People normally choose like a phone provider like Salt or Sunrise and they choose to have internet and TV all together, so they end up paying a little bit more. But since I never watch TV, I don't pay for that, so I just pay for normal speed internet at home and that's 45 Swiss francs. Then I pay 5 Swiss francs a month for having my post account. This is my monthly bank account expenses. And then when I used to have a train or a tram ticket, I also paid for that monthly. Although I don't have it right now, I don't have to go anywhere, so it makes no sense for me to have a monthly pass, so I just buy a ticket when I really need to. too, but in case you want the general train pass for all of Switzerland, which is called GA, you pay around 334 Swiss francs a month. If I wanted to have only tram and bus pass here in Basel, it would be around 80 Swiss francs per month. With this kind of thing though, you can also choose to pay the pass annually instead of every month, and that is in some way a bit better because you get 2 months for free. For example, the bus or tram pass in Basel, you pay 80 Swiss francs a month, but if you decide to pay it yearly, then you will end up paying 800 Swiss francs a year. So basically 2 months are for free. Same with the train abo, you pay 334 Swiss francs a month or 3,340 Swiss francs a year. So you also get 2 months for free. This you need to calculate in your monthly expenses too. As for the yearly expenses, they are not much, but actually I find them very annoying and very expensive because all these yearly costs come all together between December and January. So in these 2 months, you will end up having a lot more expenses that you have normally. These are the months where I spend the most money. I always have the feeling I'm without money these months because there are actually few expenses that concentrate towards the end of the year or the beginning of the year after. These expenses are the tenant association. I talked about it in one of my videos. I will put the link down below. Basically, if you rent an apartment in Switzerland, you should really be member of one of these tenants association, because in case you have any problems with your landlord, they really help you. You end up really saving a lot of money. For example, if you have problems with the rent, or if you have problems when you leave your apartment that they charge you for things that you never broke, for example, and this is 110 Swiss francs, and the bill normally comes around December. In Switzerland, you also pay for the TV. In order to get the basic TV package, you have to pay the TV and radio bill. I don't know how it called properly in English, which is 365 Swiss francs. This comes, for me, it comes in January. I don't know if this is normal or if everyone's receive it in January. Once a year, I also pay for the insurance of my apartment. I receive the bill in January. For a 2-room apartment, I pay 350 Swiss francs. While I pay for my post account monthly 5 Swiss francs, once a year I pay 50 Swiss francs for my credit card, so for having my credit card. At the end of the year, the biggest expense that you have are definitely the taxes to pay. In Switzerland, not all taxes are taken away from your salary. Basically, very few of them are taken away from your salary directly. It's around 1.5 salary, so people normally pay for it with the 13th salary, and you have to of course save a little bit more because the amount is around 1.5 salary. You can choose also to pay a little bit every month or every 3 months. You can choose to pay everything all together. I prefer to pay everything all together. When I pay my rent every month, I normally pay the rent plus some other costs, for example water and heating. I don't pay for the electricity directly, so every 3 months I get an electricity bill, which is a fixed amount for these 3 months, and if I have used more or less electricity, I also get an invoice at the end of the year with basically the difference that I have consumed. Same at the end of the year, I will receive an invoice for the water heating in case I have consumed more or less than what I have paid every month. So these are my monthly and yearly expenses. Of course, I don't have a car. If you have a car, you end up paying insurance, taxes, you have to pay for the vignette to use the highway. You have a lot more cost, but I'm not really able to tell you how much because I don't have a car, so I would have no idea how much that costs. I don't have a pet, so also there you have a little bit more expenses, and I didn't on purpose included any other extra that I pay every month, like for example, I don't know, Netflix or Spotify. And I also haven't included my grocery shopping. Maybe for the grocery shopping I will do a separate video, but I think this changes a little bit too much depending on your lifestyle. These are really the fixed costs that I have every month and year. I hope that now you have a general idea of how much Switzerland costs. Of course, these are really the basic expenses. This is really to give you an idea in case you're really looking into Switzerland, how much you could earn per month. You also have to check out how much you would spend every month. That's it for today. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and give this video a thumb up, and see you next time. Bye!